Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So as you're probably aware by now, I've played this game for a long time, and over time you accumulate stuff slowly but surely. And in the early days this isn't usually such an issue, and it wasn't an issue in my earlier years, that obviously you don't have a huge amount of stuff and it's a lot easier to keep hold or track of everything. Especially when you're trying to accumulate wealth and you're doing whatever it is that you can in order to try and earn more risk. And as you can see here, I've got a lot of ships that I don't fly at all, and again are just sitting here. Now obviously a big one of this is the Nomad, but we've got 13 billion ISK sat here just doing nothing. So I'm trying to consolidate a lot of the stuff that I've got and I'm bringing most of it back to Jita at the moment to try and either sell it or to do something with it, because as I said, over the last few years especially, I have kind of bloomed in places. Obviously with citadels being introduced, I don't use one permanent citadel, I use several, because obviously they offer different things, different bonuses and different rates, costs, the indexes are constantly moving, etc. So I don't have all my stuff stored in one place. And again, we can see here I've got 60 billion ISK sat in this hangar alone. So what I'm doing, I'm trying to bring it all back to Jita, and then I'm going to consolidate it and see what's worth selling at the moment, what's worth holding on to, and basically just try and increase the liquid amount of ISK that I've got. I've recently spent quite a bit, but at the moment I'm sitting at just below 20 bill. I've got some in Plex, etc. But again, so it's nice having a bit of liquid ISK because it gives you options that you can react to market changes quite quickly, or you can buy something that comes up that isn't or. It gives you a lot of options, and at the moment, as I say, a lot of the stuff in my inventory, the 60 bill here, is just sat here doing pretty much nothing. It's wasted. I've got 60 billion of potential liquid ISK that I could be doing something else with. And to some extent this has just made me lazy. As you can see here, we've got 15 bill in raw BPOs and materials here, but these are all research BPOs, but they've been sat in this station for pretty much a month now, and I haven't been bothered. In fact, it's probably before then, it was before the Winter Nexus, so however long that's been, but these have just been sat here just collecting dust, not doing anything. So I brought these all back to Jita, and I'm ready to transfer the blueprints, etc. over to my main character. And as you can see here, I've got 882 items, we've got 22.9 billion ISK, and the vast majority of this I have no idea really what it is, why it's here. I've got some tracking disruptor Tech 2 BPCs that I'll produce from, some Triglavian abyssal stuff, 3.2 bill of the surveys, and just stuff lying around that again is just, what on earth have I got all these for? Now obviously these are selling terribly low at the moment. They keep dropping in price. 70. It used to be that the small ones used to be the most expensive. Now it seems to be the large, medium to small. But again, I've got all these skill books, which I have most of these skills. I don't understand why I've got them here. So it's, again, just wasted space, and it's something you probably should do on a semi-regular basis, is go around your inventories, clear out your stuff, and just consolidate into piles of ISK, or even just keeping it as Plex, or just doing something more useful than just hoarding. Basically, I can't think of a better way of putting it. I've become a hoarder, and yeah, again, I'm not complaining. There are worse problems to have than piles of ISK sat round doing nothing, but it is, the longer you leave it, obviously the bigger this problem becomes of trying to just shift it all, because yeah, obviously there's huge piles of stuff that I'm going to flood the market with potentially, and obviously if I don't want to flood the market, it's going to take me longer to sell it, and that just compounds with the more stuff that I've collected. So, as you know, I like to run the Abyss every now and then, and as you can see here, it would appear that I like running it more than I do selling the stuff, because I've managed to accumulate 11 billion ISKs worth here, but now I've got to take the time to try and sell it. And that is gonna well, again, thankfully a lot of it is in the Trigalavian survey sheets, so that's half of it at least, so that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, that's 11 billion ISK that's just sat here accumulating dust, where I could possibly do something with that 11 billion ISK. And yeah, this seems to be a pattern, and again, I will assume it's not just me, that there are probably a lot of people who fall into this category that, as I said at the start, when you've not got much ISK, then obviously you're hoarding every bit of it, and you know where every bit is. It's in your ships, it's in your modules, it generally goes around with you. And as I accumulated more wealth over time, again, I stopped moving the ships, especially in the olden days, or before citadels were introduced and could be destroyed with stuff in, that if I left an alliance or a corp that was in 0-0, I'd just leave my ships in the stations, the NPC stations, or the indestructible stations that were before citadels, the outposts that couldn't be destroyed. Once they were up, they were permanent structures, and I would just leave whatever it is. I would join a new corp or alliance, jump clone to that area, buy the stuff I needed, have my fun. And then when I left, I would just leave my stuff there under the understanding that eventually I would probably be back there. And nowhere is this better summed up than what I would consider my main character. And again, this is all this. I don't generally sell, so I move the bigger things or the really expensive stuff, but the vast majority of stuff, when I buy it in an area, I use it and then I leave it. And you can see here with the sprawling list of stations that I've acquired stuff in, and this isn't even a trade character. This isn't stuff that I've bought off the market and just haven't been bothered to move. It's just rubbish, basically, most of it, but it's places where I've been, bought stuff, and then couldn't be bothered to move because the understanding that I would be back. And this is what I don't want to happen on my other characters, that I just accumulate and don't know where anything is, or it's in such small piles, but it's just not worth it. So that's what I'm currently doing in game at the moment. I'm consolidating and bringing it all back. So yeah, my current task is to transfer all that I can over to, so say, my main trade character, Red, and slowly start clawing some of this ISK that is held in assets. And so say, it is a nice problem to have, but it does become a problem when you find that you've hoarded such a huge amount of stuff and are not doing anything with it. Now, obviously, being a bit of a hoarder isn't always a bad thing, and sometimes you either get lucky or things just kind of fall right. And at the moment, if anybody has noticed, that the Raging Dark filaments have spiked in price. So as you can see here, they were down quite low and they are now spiking quite hard. We are at 2.2 million ISK per unit. So if I had have sold these in the past couple of months, I would have only have made just under what, a bit 700k each. So obviously with having 500 nigh-on of these, that's what, 700 mil profit that I wouldn't have made if I'd have sold these prior. So there are some advantages of being a hoarder and not needing ISK immediately, that you can afford to hold on to things that potentially you do think will go up in price, or you can take a punt on and just hold on to it. But again, as you can see with the item hanger here, this isn't just holding on to stuff hoping it's going to go up. This is literal hoarding. And if this was a house, I'd have no room left in my house. In fact, I've pretty much got no room left in this hangar without having the containers here, because you can only have 1,000 items. You can have over 1,000 if you're traded by do a trade with somebody, and that brings your items over 1,000. But I can't move any other items from any other hangar now into here. And assuming the computer doesn't crash. Yeah, so I have too many. So yeah, that's an incentive now to start getting rid of some of this stuff. And as I said, not all of it is destined to be sold straight away. Some things I am hoarding on purpose with the expectant price going up. So I've got some items here that, again, I'm hoping will recover back to their former price. I think I've got 9 million units of these saved in and around Jita, so again I'm just going to sit and wait for these. But that brings me back to the point that by selling more of the stuff that I've accumulated, I could be buying more of these to hold on to without... Again, I'm not having liquid cash issues at the moment, but the point is that I could be, and if there were an opportunity that arose that needed quick liquid ISK, the only options I currently have is to sell these to current buy orders, and that obviously will eat into potential profits that I could be making if I was to just put these on sell orders and just wait for someone to come. So that's where I'm currently at the moment, and that's what I'm doing in game, and that is probably what I'll be doing for the next week or so. Again, I'm just consolidating everything I've got down to more manageable groups, because as I said, I've got stuff literally strewn all over, and I'm struggling to know where it all is as much as anything. So yeah, by pulling back some of it, getting rid of some of it, and consolidating into manageable piles of stuff, then again hopefully I'll eliminate some of this problem that I've had, and will give me more ISK to play around with to make better investments and to potentially make more ISK on top of what we already have, so I can buy more stuff, so the whole cycle can continue. But if I was to give myself one bit of advice for the future, or my future me, it would be hoard less, sell more, and don't be so lazy. So I hope that was interesting. I'll give you a bit of a glimpse into the mess that is my hangers at times. And as I said, this isn't a complaint. This obviously, 71 billion ISK sat in your item hanger isn't a complaint, but it is a bit of a frustration that I've let it get to this point, and that I should have been a bit more proactive beforehand, so don't make the same mistake. And with that, thanks for your time, thanks for listening, and talk to you again soon.